Hello and welcome to Jazz After Dark. How's everybody doing tonight, huh? If you don't know, this is just a quick, sort of a laid back show that we do here where we enjoy a drink together. And tonight, it is going to be good old Buffalo Trace. But we enjoy a drink together, and I teach you something maybe you didn't actually know. And I promise you, you're not going to know this unless you're one of our clients. Every week, I do an email for clients, and this is going to be some of the stuff I included in there for them. Not everything, but I think it's important to point out to everybody else because we have 2025 coming up. Do you think the market is going to just have another 20% gain? Did you know that the stock market has had back-to-back 20% gains, and that's only happened 3 other times it's in its entire history? I put in our letter this weekend what the results were the year after, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a crapshoot. All right. So we're going to talk about a few things here tonight, and I hope you'll grab a drink. Buffalo Trace going with the little one piece of ice in there. If you don't know, Buffalo Trace is my absolute favorite. Yeah. Besides like Weller. I mean, you can get fancier, I guess, but who's getting fancy around here? We're trying to keep our dough straight. Anyways, let's take a look. So for the last 2 years, if we were to take the 2-year rolling return, meaning instead of saying year to year, how did things do? What if we said, what about every 2 years? How does the market do? The reason we're doing this is because it's rather interesting what's happening out there. Over the last 2 years, the stock market has now gained over 60%. Well, that ranks in the 95th percentile, meaning there's not many other times where it's done this. And for the performance, we're just over 60%, at least as of now. That could change, but holiday week and then New Year's, and nobody's really doing anything anyways. So here's what we got. 2-year rolling returns put us around 60%. The red line indicates the 95th percentile. And what we're trying to show is like, hey, okay, it happened here, a little bit here, a little bit here, okay, a little bit right there, then over here, and over here. We're going back to 1930. You see the mouse? 1930. That's not a lot of times where the stock market has gained over 60% in just 2 years. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't show the data from all those other points of like what happened afterwards. Because if I look, it looks like, yeah, okay, it looks all good. And then we fell back apart. Is that normal? Well, let's take a look. Remember, this is Jazz After Dark. We get a little geeky in here. So that's the reason we need the drink. Slow us down a little bit. Don't let the data scare you. I'll walk through it with you. So we said, hey, every time the rolling returns ranked in the 95th percentile or better, right? All of these scenarios, let's just see what happened going forward. So in column number one, we show the dates that actually happened. Column number 2, we go, well, 1 month forward, how did things do? 3 months forward, 6 months, 1 year. We could really pick any time frame we want, but we're talking about 2025 at this point. And then over here we say, well, what was the max gain inside of that 1-year period? Meaning, did we miss out on something special? And what was the max drawdown? Meaning, okay, did the markets fall at all, or do they just keep going higher and never look back? Here's what I want to point out. When the 2-year rolling returns reach the 95th percentile or better, just come down to the bottom, right? You can pause this and take a look at the other stuff, but what I'm showing is the average return over the next 1 month. A slight, ever so slight drop of 0.06%. It was only positive 50% of the time. Is that interesting? We don't know unless we look at all 1-month periods and say, well, how does that relate to what the stock market just does over all other 1-month periods? Well, if we go back to the inception of the S&P 500, which is not 1930, it's actually 1928. But remember, we're talking about hitting the 95th percentile, so we're covering every single base here. We say, well, the average 1-month return is actually 0.64%. So we've underperformed. When the stock market finds itself so impressively overbought at this point, well, going forward over the next month, we tend to overperform. In this case, we're talking about January, right? You with me? Look at the other columns for a second. Tell me what you see. Heaven in a glass. Okay. Over the next 3 months, yeah, we've got some hit or misses inside of here. The average performance is 1.21%. Any and all other 3-month average returns for the S&P are 1.92%. So we've underperformed. Now, we're positive more times than not than any other 3-month period. So, we're talking about average in this case. And to be truthful, the median return is much closer to the 1.92. However, we still underperform. It's almost like the market did all the heavy lifting and wants to take a break after hitting the 95th percentile of all other 2-year rolling return performances. Let's go forward. 6 months. All right, we got some big drawdowns inside of here. The average performance is 0.39%, median 1.29. Every other 6-month period, the average return is 3.84%. We underperform again. How about 1 year? 1 year, okay, 3.36%. Well, that's got to be bad because the average return you guys usually know to be around 7%. However, when we look at all other periods outside of it, we find it's 8.06%. In other words, we massively underperform. Not negative. We're not saying it's a disaster by any means. Median performance is 5.04%. Unfortunately, we underperform. What I find really interesting is if you look at the pullbacks inside of that 1 year period, we're going to go to the far right-hand column. The max pullback inside of all of it, well, we do have pullbacks. The average is about 11%. What does that tell you? Okay, we had a really good stock market performance. Great. The last 2 years have been amazing. We tend to underperform, although positive mostly, besides that 1 month period, we do tend to show a positive gain. It's just not as good as we're used to. In fact, it's less than what the average is. However, inside of that 1 year time period, we do have many opportunities for an average pullback of about 11.43% or a median of about 7%. That tell you? Well, it tells you that if you're looking at investing large sums of money right now relative to whatever your account is worth, then is it the best time? Right? Like, maybe you sit back and wait. I don't know. I'm not saying the markets are going to fall, but my God, look at every case besides one. We had a pullback. Okay, maybe I'm interested in waiting for a pullback. Now let's take it a step further. I don't want you to think that I'm suggesting the stock market will fall apart. Did you know that since the beginning of the S&P, 80% of the time, the S&P 500, just about 80% of the time, the S&P 500 is in a bull market. And I shared this with clients over the weekend. I said, well, let's visualize that. So this is the whole S&P. The green is obviously the bull market. The red is bear markets. I want you to notice something. Number one, most of the time we're in a bull market. However, notice how bull markets are long, big green shaded areas. And bear markets are rather short, although scary, but short little time periods. So we almost want to welcome a bear market. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but we want to welcome that because it's usually short-lived. What does that do? It creates a buying opportunity for those of you that want to invest large chunks relative to your balance, or for those of you that want to just kind of increase your dollar cost averaging. Yeah, we want to do it during those periods. We don't necessarily want to do it when everything's at all-time highs and we know that we're now going to underperform going forward, right? So let's think about that. Do we want to start January with big commitments to the S&P, to your investments, to your 401k, your IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA, Simple IRA, all of that stuff, your TSP? Probably not. You know what I mean? I can't tell you what to do. Legally, I get in trouble if I say, buy now, sell now, because the licenses that we have, we're not allowed to do that. We can for clients, but of course, for the public, I can't quite say that. One last thing I want to leave you with. You know, in October, I think it was October 17th, 16th, we hit the end of the 2-year bull market. In other words, the anniversary of the bull market becoming 2 years old. We're still in a bull market right now. It's just slightly over 2 years old. But I said to clients this in this email, when a bull market turns 2 years old, should we be excited about the 3rd year? Will it be great? Will we go to 4th year, the 5th year, whatever? So we took a look at this, and rather than showing you a data table, I said, well, let's just plot it out. Let's go every single other bull market that made it past its 2nd anniversary and then see, did it do well? Was there a pullback that we could buy and get excited about? Oh, this is not a good one. Here's what that looks like. So the 0 point down here on the y-axis, I'm sorry, down here, we're doing this in months, by the way. So we're saying, okay, 1 year forward, month by month by month, take the performance of any bull market that lasted more than 2 years. Y-axis is just the positive or negative. X-axis is the number of months. Real simple. Do you see anything that gets you excited there? Kind of looks like a 50-50 shot, right? Bull markets that last more than 2 years have almost a 50-50 chance of being positive a year later or negative. Now, to help you out here, when it's positive, the positive returns outpace the negative returns. So it's not like we're saying, oh, there's going to be a crash or something like that. But take a look. We have just as many points going lower as we do going higher. It's just the ones that go higher outperform those that would have went lower, right? In other words, if we average like 10% on the way up, we average an 8% loss on the way down. So putting those two things into perspective, number one, we have an S&P that has dramatically outperformed itself and historically will underperform itself going forward over the next year. Hey, let's wait for those pullbacks. 5%, 10%, I don't know. There is nothing right now that suggests the S&P is going to crash. The world is going to end, right? Could change, of course, but for the moment, that's where we stand. So we've got that. Then on the other hand, we say, well, the bull market just turned over 2 years old. And historically, when the bull market turns over 2 years old, we don't have a clear path to a successful third year. Also, remember, it will be the president's first year in office. The first year in office is not bad, but it's that third year in office where we see the best S&P returns. So we've got a few things working against us here. And it's a fancy way to show you and teach you that maybe we're not going to be disappointed if this next year, 2025, results in a wild but 5% gain, 6% gain, somewhere in there. That would actually be normal. It wouldn't be fun. Of course, we want 20%. Give me everything you got. But if it did that, it wouldn't mean that the market is weak or somehow suffering. It would be just perfectly normal. You know what I mean? So when you go into 2025, what do you do about that? Do you take these stats and you say, well, I better make sure my investment plan is dialed in so that I don't take as much risk as I need to because it's not the most opportune time to take risk? Or do you say, pedal to the metal, let's go? Well, it depends on how old you are. I should say how young you are, right? If you're younger, you go for it, right? You're going to live through many of these, and the stats say maybe it underperforms, but that doesn't mean you underperform. You get that money saved, and you hit the savings plan that you have. Don't save more than you need to into the stock market, but you keep going. If you're an older gentleman or gentlewoman, then you're going to say, am I dialed in the right way? Do I have the investment mix between my whole net worth that I should have, or am I taking too much risk? I don't know the answer for you, but that's one you're going to go find some help with. And I hope you check us out at jazzwealth.com. But if not, go get some help from someone who can say, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you are taking way too much risk. And at this point in life and where the market's at, you don't really need this risk. Let's dial it back a little bit. Maybe nothing wrong with that. Again, I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. If you're not sure or sold on us yet, USA Today said we're the 66th best investment advisor in the United States. I would like to prove that to you instead of you taking someone else's word for it. So jazzwealth.com, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.